Greetings, everyone. It has been a while. If you don't know me, my name is Steve Conover, and this is the Aramaic Gospel channel on YouTube. Some of you may be watching on Facebook, which is awesome. And thanks to technology, we can stream live to multiple places at one time, and that's a very, very cool thing. I've been away for a while. That is intentional. And our Heavenly Father has me in a very contemplative and meditative state lately. Edit the privacy here. And I've had about a month's worth of time. The title of this is The Grand Myth and Illusion That Is Free Will. And this will trigger many of you. But we are there. We're there as a projection of consciousness. And what we are witnessing on planet Earth are truly two distinct and separate expressions of consciousness. And that is what always happens at the beginning of a new age. But in this case, we're also in a transition in the density of consciousness and the dimensional perspective of that consciousness. So many are going to hop on here and hop right off, and that's okay. That's why I kind of take a little while here in the beginning. That's intentional. But the subject of free will, hopefully, I'm going to be able to share this in a way because I am not evangelizing anyone. I'm not telling anybody what to see. So I'm going to try to do this in a way that doesn't perpetrate spiritual violence upon anyone. And if this conversation is not for you, you feel free to navigate away, and that's okay. I'm not upset. But the subject of free will, if you're on the YouTube channel, and you can find a video I did called The King and the Cleaning Boy, is a great place to start. In that there was a king of a kingdom, and he was going to step down as king, and he sent out a decree to his kingdom for those who wanted to apply to be king to enter into a training program. And this training program, I'm just going to go over it quickly. If you want to hear the whole thing, the video's on the YouTube channel. But the training program, a couple hundred people showed up to enter the training program, and the first place you started was the royal haberdashery, where you learned about royal clothing and got fitted and suited up with your royal robes and shoes and headdress and everything. And then the next thing you went to was the royal equestrian training, where you would learn all about that. And then from there, you would go to the royal spa and learn about getting massages and energy healing and nutrition. And from there, you would move on to the School of Politics, where you would learn how to govern a kingdom and learn about politics and the rules of the Senate and all of that. And then from there, you would move on to the School of Religion and learn about all the great religions. And finally, the very last step after this, a dozen training schools, the very last thing was the Temple of Meditation, where you would learn how to meditate. And when you entered the temple, you would take off all your shoes and your garments and be completely naked and go into this meditative temple where all there was a satin pillow to sit on, and you would stay there until you learned the art of getting free of self, space, and time. So after about 6 months went by, the king said to his right hand man, how's everybody doing? And he said, well, let me go check and find out. And he went around to all the schools and finally to the meditation place, and nobody was in there. And but at every stop, every school that he stopped at to check on everybody, there were people that were stuck in each place. And they had even had business cards made up. People who were they told the right hand man, hey, I'm good here. I'm training people how to ride horses. I'm training people on Reiki. I'm I'm a consultant here in the School of Government, and in the School of Religion. People got set up as leaders of their individual religions, and they would give the right hand man a business card and say, hey, give this to the king. If he wants to know the perfect religion, I can help the king out. And he went back to the king, and the king said, how's everybody doing? And the right hand man told the king what was going on. And he said, well, what about the meditation, the temple? And he said, told the king there wasn't anybody in there but the cleaning boy. And the king said, cleaning boy? I didn't know there was a cleaning boy. He said, yeah, there's a cleaning boy there. He takes care of everything and keeps it clean. And he said, the king said, bring the cleaning boy to me. And so he did. And he brought the cleaning boy, and the king said, how come I've never seen you there? And the cleaning boy said, well, I stay out of the way. After you take off your royal garments and your shoes, I clean your shoes, I press your garments and hang them back up, and then I watch you meditate. And that's how I learned how to meditate. And then when you're done, I come in and clean up after you and straighten up and make sure it's ready for you the next time. And then the story, the king says, this is the one. And the cleaning boy becomes the king. So what does this have to do with free will? The short answer is everything. You see, in the evolution of the soul, we all inhabit one of these training centers where we're presented with problems to fix, things to learn, judgments to make. And we all end up setting up shop there, sometimes for our entire incarnation. But sometimes some of us can look back over our lives and see where we've set up shop. Some of us have even set up shop now. This is the triggering part. In kind of a new agey or a spiritual movement in a religious sense, and we've grabbed on to something. You know, I'm a fan of the Aramaic language and the ancient Aramaic and ancient Hebrew, but we even have a tendency to set up shop there and make business cards where we would hand our business card to the representative of the king and tell the king that I've figured out these languages, and if he really wants to know the truth, that just let me know and I'll come teach him. And I'm not saying that any of these things are bad either. It's part of the deal. But through the process, until we get to the meditation temple, until we can disrobe, get free of self, space, and time, and experience nothingness, experience the eternal present moment free of every attachment, even that, the thing you just thought of, even that. Jesus said, you got to hate your mother and father, brother and sister, or you can't follow me. This has puzzled many people in the Greek and English translations. He said lots of things like that. You must deny yourself, take up your cross daily, or you can't follow me. He's speaking as Einana, the eye within the eye. It's all saying the same thing, that until you are willing to surrender to the Father all of your attachments, including the idea that you're a person. Until you can do that, you are a prisoner of physical death. No matter what you say about it, it's the truth. But in that state called entropy, if you go back to Genesis, where they say, if you eat from this tree, this stream of consciousness, you will surely die. That's entropy. That is a state where you identify, you attach to the idea of a person experiencing linear time, physical death. There are problems to solve. And Jesus said, it is impossible for the offenses not to come in that state, but woe to those who the offenses come. You see, in this state of entropy, in this state of attachment, of programming, you have no free will. It will be impossible for problems to not continually come, inhabit your mind. And your ego, your mind, will tell you that your ability to understand scripture and solve problems with integrity is free will, but it's not, because the problems never stop coming. If it was free will, you could make a choice and they would stop. And there's no choice you can make that will stop that. And I already know what you just said. Well, isn't the choice to get free of self, space, and time free will? What did Jesus say about that? He said, no one comes to the Father. No one comes to me, comes to Einana. No one gets through the narrow gate and on the narrow way unless the Father calls them. You see, you're going to experience the catalyst you need to experience regardless of any camp you set up shop in. The good news is all religion, all concepts about God is the last stop. Because once you're done with that catalyst, once you can even surrender that, you can then experience freedom from all concepts and know the truth and be set free. You will not be able to get there until you're done with your catalyst. And that is up to the Father. But when you get there, and remember, I'm just pointing to something. I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm not telling you where you're at. And I'm not telling you that if you are set up in a certain camp, that's a good thing or a bad thing. But when you are able to get free of self, space, and time, and I know many of you watching this personally, and some of you are there, and we've talked about this, you still don't have free will. What you have is oreta. So when you are And in the state of entropy, you need a law to govern you, and that's called Nemosa. In the Bible, it's the law of Moses. But all the laws that govern man in the state of entropy are called Nemosa in Aramaic, and those are ordinances, those are rules. But when you flip the switch of your polarity and you go from entropy to freedom, neg entropy, you go from death to life. And in that state, you become just like Jesus when you say, I only do what I hear the Father say and see the Father do. It's still not free will, it's divine will. You are intuned. The word is tuveun in the Beatitudes. They all start out with blessed are the. That in Aramaic is tuveun, and it means divinely intuned and fully present are these people. That's divine will. And in that state, you will know divine will and you will do it every day, and you will not need Nemosa, ordinances, to stop you from harming people or stealing stuff. You will only know Oreta, divine will, neg entropy, and you will be walking in the Spirit. Until then, continue to experience Romans 7 until you have had enough. So Romans 7, guy, is entropy, Nemosa, what a wretched man I am, as Paul says. But thanks to Jesus for showing us the way to experience divine will, Oreta, the cosmic law. It's a great time to be alive here on planet Earth, where these two streams of consciousness are so stark and so obvious. But I invite you, if you want to pursue this any further, to reach out to me and let's talk. Because I promise you this, I'm not going to tell you what to see. I'm not going to tell you what to believe. I'm only going to point you to a place spiritually, to a intimate knowing of your creator, of consciousness, of divine will, where you will be able to say, I only do what I hear the Father say and see the Father do. And if this doesn't resonate with you, you know what? That's okay. I love you. I hope this message finds you in a state of peace and joy. And if not, reach out to me and let's see what we can do. Peace out.